Okay, now here comes the exhausting part of reading all of these.
I'm telling you, Sammy, you see some weird things when you spend half your day in a sea truck.
More vandalism? Was it the sea monkeys again?
I don't think so. I can't shake the feeling this planet is cursed.
There's no such thing as a curse.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's nothing. You wouldn't want to hear about it anyway. Just a huge creature frozen in ice.
What? Where?
In a cave, not far from your lab. And here's the extra weird part. As soon as I called it in, they closed off the area. Don't want anyone going in there.
But why?
Sammy, I'm no biologist, but I think there was something wrong with it. Its skin just seemed off. Alien.
An alien on planet 4546b. No.
I'm serious, Sam. Something ain't right. Wish I could show you, but I can't get back in there.
You can't. But I might know how to.
Whatever you're thinking, we never had this conversation.
Alright, I'm gonna... Let me get my headphones. Just so I know if it's being played clearly enough. Can I, like, make it so it's not... Here we go. There we go. Alright.
Cheese on a cracker. Saw me. Managed to eject the cargo modules and hide. Sitting here with the lights off, sweating through my shirt. I'm not gonna get pooped out of the back end of a sea monster to save Alterra some money. Manuel, not going to be happy. Not one bit. The damn ugly thing followed me into the shallows. Didn't think something that big would follow me up here. Had to jettison the sea truck. Again. I guess I could try to go back for the parts when it leaves. If it leaves. I really don't want to sit in another meeting with Emmanuel. Manu, as he likes to be called. I just want to drive around and deliver cargo in peace.
Communications tower maintenance log. Another day, another slight by the winged furies. As usual, I got an interference alert. As usual, I went out to see what the problem was. As usual, it was frozen stalagmites of feathered bird excrement. I fear the career impact of saying this officially, if you can even call what I have a career. But I could swear they're targeting me personally. The week I was out with the flu, I came back to find the tower spotless. Parvin laughed at me when I asked him how he cleaned it. Silly me. As if Parvin would ever clean anything. There's nothing left for me to do but quit. But I know that's what the birds want me to do. Oh, and I got the tower up and running. Maintenance complete.
Okay then. Emmanuel Desjardins, Human Resources and Communications Liaison, reports to Alterra HQ, personality... The hell kind of personality is that? Jeremiah Mergel. Reports to Emmanuel, Communications Tower Maintenance. Yo, what kind of personality is that? Oh. Ah. So this is the entire map of the area? Maybe? Delta Station is up there. I think the robotics center. I think that's the green one. Kappa mining site. I think that's the horseshoe looking symbol. I mean, it's useful, but not that useful for figuring out which is which.
That far out to sea, swimming back for land wasn't an option. I'd die from exhaustion long before I made it to shore. All I could do was survive long enough to wash up somewhere. I felt a suction, and suddenly there were vast jaws rising out of the water towards me. It had taken hours for the Reaper's corpse to float to the surface. Using the knife, I clambered up her flank and got a perch on top. I figured she'd float for a few days at least, enough for me to catch my breath. But would she sink before or after I died of thirst? I had a knife, a repair tool, and 3 liters of water. At least I wasn't gonna die of exhaustion. Now, those Reapers, they're practically all muscle, but there's some fat in there. I was able to keep warm and drink the water. And I didn't have much, but I had that repair tool, so I had a spark. It took a week to light that first fire. And I know more about the burning properties of Reaper fat than I ever cared to. I had to ration fires, but as they burned, I could smoke meat that I carved out of the beast's rib cage.
Wow. Talk about being a savage or a badass. The standard issue Mark III prawn has been manually altered by its owner, exchanging one of its hot swappable artwork arms for the mandible of a young chilicorate. Given the range of available high-tech prawn modifications and the non-classified Altera fabrication suite, these customizations appear to be more of a stylistic choice than a functional one. However, the starved claw arm could certainly be used effectively in defensive scenarios by an experienced pilot. The custom suit also appears to have seen heavy use over a long period of time, judging by the barnacle overgrowth and permanently damaged sections of exoskeleton. Assessment: the owner doesn't want you messing around. Yeah, no kidding. New employee training. It is recommended that all training be completed while Tower is in test mode. Test mode is a fully functional, simulated version of live mode. While in test mode, all communication from the tower, including distress signals, security alerts, and spy transmissions will be disabled. To initiate test mode, insert the test override module into the diagnostics port as depicted in the diagram to the left. The activate test mode command may be entered via the terminal once the test override module has been inserted. Surveillance status report. Sector 0 region scan. 2 active human lifeforms detected. Unauthorized habitat construction and vehicular activity detected. Recommendation: observe and prepare for possible intervention. The future of Xenoworks. From Jax Isis. Hey there, Xenoworkers. I know there's been lots of rumors circulating, so I just want to clear some stuff up. In the spirit of openness and transparency, which you know means a lot to us all here. First of all, no. Altera did not buy us. We're still Xenoworks. We're not going to move offices or start having some kind of hierarchical structure, or even like making you show up on site or anything like that. Although you should, for the snacks alone. We're still the scrappy, agile, research-first startup you all signed onto. So what does this controlling stake stuff mean? Well, I guess the most direct way to put it is it means more. More equipment, more research, more risk. More experimentation, more of everything that makes us great. And most of all, more cash for you and your research. And yes, snacks. Lena will be in touch pretty soon about exchanging your old Gen Genoworks PDAs for snazzy new Altera upgrades, and to help you get comfy with some really minor policy changes that are going to help us keep everything running nice and smooth going forward. So yeah, congratulations everyone, we did this together, and now we're going to be able to do this so much more. Cheers, Isis Jax, Communications Specialist.
I'm alive. Stefanos saved me. The Mercury attempted an emergency takeoff and everything seemed fine. I was helping the bridge crew with the emergency takeoff since the crew is, well, was short-handed because of everything. I heard the sound of metal tearing and for a split second, everything was tinged bright green and unbearably hot. Then I saw daylight and I was looking down at the ocean and ice. The strongest wind I've ever felt roared in my ears, ripping through the ship. People went flying out the side of the Mercury, so much screaming and chaos. I was lucky. I had just clipped into my sea tinker. Stefanos came out of nowhere, like a malaika, an angel. I felt his rough, calloused hand grasp mine with the gentlest of urgency. It felt like time slowed. He said, "I gotcha. Just follow me, Ella." I don't know how, but he used an emergency tether to drag me to the nuclear reactor core, the strongest bulkhead in the ship. We hit the water and everything went black. He's sleeping. I think he might have hit his head. I'm exhausted. The adrenaline has long since worn off and my body aches. I think I might have fractured the rib. I'm gonna shut my eyes for a bit. When I wake up, I'll figure this out. I'll save us.
How long ago was this?
Orion's felt this all went sideways. How could I have known that so much would go wrong? I failed my crew. No, I don't fail. I didn't get into this position by being a failure. It's this desolate land, frigid, cursed. Between these tunneling creatures, and the strange sickness that a few of the crew are showing symptoms of, we have to leave at first light tomorrow. We are prepping for a rapid takeoff. We can't take chances with the vibrations drawing the tunnelers, so we're skipping the systems check. Risky, but I have faith in myself and the crew of the Mercury. Landing this thing was practically a miracle, though. But we have to get out of here. Maybe the weapon is to keep people away, but if we leave, it'll let us go. I have to leave the quarantined crew in the cave behind. We will be back for them, but we can't risk an unknown infection spreading through the Mercury. We're packing survival kits for them, but there's only enough surplus for about 2 weeks. I'm telling them that we will come back, but I don't think I can land here safely twice. I hate this, but I have to leave them behind. I can't risk the entirety of the Mercury.
Well, that's a shitty situation. Oh god.
I finished the reactor checks. We dumped a ton of runoff and we don't need the rods melting down. Then I helped with the scavenging, chopped some veggies with the cooks, and tried to help Diana, but she sent me down to engineering with Stefanos. I've been working with him the last few days. Stefanos, how to describe Stefanos? He's by far the most thorough engineer I've worked with, and no ego. He never leaves a job undone, no matter how late it is. I've never seen him awake before 11, and he always greets me by saying, "Kalimera, Yasmin," in the sleepiest drawl. Not a morning person, that one. He listens with the slightest smile on his face and twirls this stray curl by his ear. He asks a billion questions, but I don't mind. He surprised me today. There's an empty room on the bridge, just a spot of negative space in the ship. He set a picnic there and said I need to relax. He even called me a busybody. There were these crazy glowing fungus things he found to set the ambiance. The most exciting part though, drum roll, he can jailbreak fabricators. He made a small batch of traditional Grecian dishes. But the craziest part? He managed to make a suitable falafel for me. I never thought I'd see a good falafel in deep space. Alhamdulillah. A quiet genius, that one. This planet may be a cold mistress, but maybe it isn't so bad.
I can only do repairs in spurts. That's so inefficient. The larger tools seem to set off seismic activity nearby. A crew came back telling stories of gigantic worms burrowing in the ice. I don't know what they were going on about. They were hypothermic and frostbitten because they walked back to avoid angering them. The ice shelf is probably a bit unstable and they got disoriented or something. To borrow from Diana, Orion's belt thermocouplings are not meant to be worked on in 20-minute spurts. If we break the process, we'll break the ship. But it's nice to hang out with Yasmin while we wait for the rumbles to stop. I hope she doesn't mind all my questions. I love hearing her voice. Her face lights up, and she's got the most expressive eyebrows. They're practically acrobats. The way she looks when talking about nuclear engineering is the same way I look at my grandmother's domades. The woman never sits down, though. She told me that she used to do decathlon in college, and I can believe it. She's like a bouncy ball, just all over the place. She makes rounds on the ship every day to see if people need help. I should do something nice for her. She's always helping everyone else. I wish I had a fraction of her energy.
My instincts are never wrong. Stefanos has always been overly cautious. He hates taking risks, which I suppose is understandable when you're in the back end of the galaxy. But no risk, no reward. Elliot finds evidence of alien architecture on a completely uncharted planet, and he expects me to ignore that? Orion's belt, I would be an absolute fool. We've done some scans, and while there aren't a lot of mineral resources on this planet, there is decent biodiversity. Teams go out in the morning. There should be a significant specimen and sample haul for biopatenting, which will be split among the crew as part of the discovery clause. Let's see Stefanos and everyone else complain when they have a few more Sol Transgov credits in their uniform pockets. They'll learn to trust my instincts at some point.
Aurora wreckage located, survivors confirmed. Altera has released voice recordings which confirm survivors of the Aurora crash. The transmission came from trade ship Sunbeam, which was passing nearby when it detected their SOS. Hey Altera, we've got one of your birds in the soup over here. Looks like they took... static. Survivors. We're moving in for a closer look. While the number of survivors is not yet known, nor the true state of the ship, it is now known that she has landed with her hull largely intact on planet 4546b. Smaller than Earth and largely waterbound, it is thought the planet has a breathable atmosphere and hopes have been raised all around. The Sunbeam is registered as a 5-seater cargo vessel, insufficient to evacuate the crew or cargo of the Aurora, but perhaps enough to assess the situation and reassure shareholders at home that their investment is secure. There is at least a 1-month delay on transmissions from that region of space. In the meantime, Altera is working on every possible solution, including an innovative idea to transmit the blueprints for a purpose-built rocket, which could be constructed using materials salvaged from the Aurora and the planet itself. If the crew could begin their long journey home now, the rescue teams could meet them halfway, shaving off months off their return. Altera's share prices rose to their quarterly high on the news. Was unexplained ion signature linked to the Aurora's disappearance? An unusual ion signature on the edge of Altera space has scientists baffled, and some have drawn a connection with a similar echo detected around the time of the Aurora's reported crash landing. How the two might be connected is an open question, and Many in the scientific community maintain they are unrelated and explained by natural phenomenon, or even Altera secretly testing new technologies. Fuel has been added to the fire by Altera's refusal to release its full data on the Aurora accident, and recent indications from sources that they will be revising up their list of expected casualties, without revealing where this information is coming from. It has now been months since the Sunbeam went quiet, with no new information. The salvage teams continue their long journey to 4546B.
I want to offer my sincerest condolences on the passing of your sister. I got to know Sam better towards the end of my mandate with Altera on 4546B, when we were thrown together as basemates at Outpost Zero. She spoke often and fondly of you. I thought you should know, it didn't sit right with me when Altera blamed Sam's death on negligence. The Samantha Ayu I met was many things. Kind, clever, devoted to her work, but never negligent. I wish I could offer you something more substantial, but my access to information has been cut off. You may be in a better position to look into things than I am. If you're able to, Delta Station was our HQ. They were in a big hurry to leave, and there might still be information to be found there. It has a big radio tower, impossible to miss. I hope you find the answers you seek. Lillian Bench.
Wow. We really do have to look more into what happened. Notice of death. Dear Mrs. Ayu, on behalf of Zeta Landon, 4546B Robotics Section Leader, and Indra Cormack, President of Altera Transgov, I regret to inform you of the death of Samantha Ayu. She died on planet 4546B, regrettably as a result of injuries sustained in an accident arising from her own negligence. Please allow me to communicate the most profound condolences for the loss of your sister. While further details are unavailable at this time, you will receive contact from the Department of Insurance and Recuperation concerning your responsibilities as next of kin, with regards to repayment of damages and legal fees. If you have any questions, you may file Form so-and-so, and your query will be addressed in sequential order. Sincerely, Emmanuel Desjardins.
Robin, guess what? I got the job. I'm going to 4546B. Now I'll be able to improve the mechanical avian amphibian under real-world stress conditions. Listen, I know your stance on Altera, but I just hope you're happy your sis is happy. I sure hope my sis is happy. I can't wait till we talk again. Oh, I wanted to ask you something. Can you watch my Augie while I'm away? I need someone I can trust to look after my best little potato. Potato, listen. I tried, but that name is just not sticking. He's my little ultrabite. I'll leave the starchy tubers nicknames to you. Anyway, if you say yes, thanks, baby sis. Love you.
Baby sis? Oh, so she's older than us.
4546B to Robin. Come in, Robin. Remember when we used to play old-timey Space Explorer? This is kind of like that, but it's even harder to communicate. Well, let's see. I got your last message. Altera is not, as you put it, alterizing me. Things are going well. My project has a new name. Say goodbye to the mechanical avian amphibian, and hello to spy penguins. We're training the bots to mimic the creatures. Check out the photo. And I think I'm kind of seeing someone. I know it's not like me to just find a date, let alone on a mostly uninhabited water planet, but actually, you know what? Forget I said anything. Yeah, it's probably not even a real thing, but anyway, I'm sorry to hear XenoWorks might be strapped in the revenue department. Sounds like they still have you busy Xeno working, though. I know there's no way to guarantee an alien intelligence startup will succeed, but you've put so much into it. I hope they find a way to keep going. I know how much it means to you, getting to work at a small place where you have control over your research. Alright, I gotta go. Later, baby sis. Love you.
Just download the file, and when you go to General and click Import, upload that JSON. At least she's taking them if Dad wasn't. It's more of a hijacking than a stealing. Home. And a wake-up call is very much needed. There's no point in talking to him. He won't stay positive.
Hey, Robin. I got your Augie photo. Thanks so much for taking care of him, even though he's a cranky potato. Hey, the nickname actually fits that way. A cranky potato. I know he can be a handful, but I really appreciate it. I'm a bit worried about my other baby, the mission. One of my penguins found something big. But Altera is just like nothing to see here. Honestly, kind of glad you can't answer, so you can't, rub it in my face. Go ahead, bask in the fact that you were a little bit right about them. My project is on the line. My job, my safety. I heard about Xenoworks getting bought. I'm sorry. But at least you still have your job. Guess you're one of us now. Like it or not, welcome to the Altera family. I should probably go before I say something I regret. Love you. Keep your chin up. Eye on the alien prize. Hey, Robin. I'm sorry my last message was so awful. I've been under a lot of stress. I'm not sure what's going on with anything. I can't really talk about it either. Oh, and I'm definitely not dating anyone on this water planet. Don't know what I was thinking there. Have I told you how cold it is here? Get this. I can't even get my wash and go dry before the wind freezes the moisturizer in my hair. Wild, right? Well, anyway, I'm sure you're mad at me after what I said, but I could really use a friend. You're my sister. I love you. I'm sorry.
Wow. She really does feel bad.
Hey, Robin. I really need someone to know. I'm afraid something terrible is gonna happen. You were completely right about Altera, okay? You were right. I was wrong. The cat should be called Potato. I admit it. Sorry. Bad attempt at a joke. I don't know what to do. I guess I should just come out and say it at this point. I've said this much already. We found a frozen Leviathan that's infected with Kara. Altera thinks they can use it for something. Weapons, experimental treatments, a whole range of things. But one end of the range is ugly, dangerous, but profitable, of course. What if it gets out while we're messing around with it? Or worse, what if it ends up a bioweapon in the wrong hands? I hope I'm overreacting, but I don't think I am. Anyway, message me back, please. I could really use a friend. You're my sister. I love you.
Oh, look at that. Looks just like the real thing.
I was a little nervous about dropping into an unknown area, but luckily, this biome seems to have an abundance of minerals I can use for tools and upgrades. I didn't want another situation like Byzantos 5. When Xenoworks dropped me off, there were barely any resources. I survived off the land for 3 months with just a knife, my lucky PDA, and some rope. I am still kind of proud of that, though.
Damn.
Some of the wildlife down here is very grabby. If I didn't know better, I'd say they're after my supplies. I should have guessed Altera would find a way to clip Sam's wings, like I knew they'd do to mine once they took over Xenoworks. I tried to warn her. She was stubborn, like me. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be so different from her. Scrappier, faster, less play by the rules. But Sam didn't tolerate Altera's corporate red tape any more than I did. She just tried to change it from the inside. I think in the end, we always wanted similar things. In goes the battery and titanium, out comes a scanner. Every xenobiologist's favorite tool. This planet has some fascinating flora and fauna, and I can't wait to learn about them. This will also give me access to a greater tool set. I'm assuming Altera left behind tech that I can scan for blueprints. That should make surviving and exploring out here a bit easier. Don't worry, Sam. I haven't forgotten I'm here for you. But it can't hurt to do a little research on the side, right? I know you would have done the same. I will find out what happened to you. I promise. The sea monkeys have changed their tune. If only I could let them know what I need. Maybe they could bring me something useful next time. What was that woman's problem? The one in the exosuit. Like I need to say which woman. And what the hell is she doing on this planet? It isn't exactly a happening vacation spot. She knew their terrain well enough to make a dramatic entrance by jumping off a sheer cliff. So I guess she's been here a while. But how long has she been following me? She said to keep away from her, or off her land. What in this frozen slush bog could she be protecting? Unless she's camped out somewhere. She's definitely heard of Altera, though. Did she meet Sam?
Alien robot. This device is of alien origin, although its design is relatively simple. Purpose. Its low threat level is at odds with the advanced technology apparently available to its designers. Man. Despite its simple design, this construction is quite elegant in its minimalism. Sorry, I was looking at something. 4 electromagnetic legs allow it to traverse floors, walls, and ceilings with reasonable speed and appear to be replaceable. Internally, there are a few moving parts, rendering this construct energy efficient and resistant to wear over time. A rechargeable ion-based power reserve ensures it continues to operate. The statue of unknown origin, assembled with precision out of a block of pure copper ore, appears to represent a creature of some sort and resembles the centaurs of ancient Greek mythology. Several theories have been posited. The statue could serve as a cultural marker, denoting the presence of or authority of a particular race or subgroup of an intelligent alien race. Possible religious artifact, depicting a deity or otherwise noteworthy figure. Artistic expression, an invented form representing imaginative thought. Architect Containment Cube. While advanced human civilization has attempted for centuries to develop successful whole-brain emulation techniques, it appears the architect has built a platform for accomplishing this holy grail of life extension technology. Physically, the containment cube appears to be comprised of a redundant array of quantum holographic storage layers, supporting a hyperdense capacity of 35 bits per electron. The energy field that feeds a suspended animated cube also serves to power the operating software, allowing the intelligence and storage to maintain consciousness throughout the storage period. Once a stored consciousness has been transferred out of the cube, the component parts will become inert. Without witnessing and carefully observing the backup process, it is difficult to ascertain how the transfer works and whether or not the process is truly lossless. While we have evolved beyond physical attachment, it is traditional to navigate space-time in conjunction with mobile biomechanical storage media, altered and evolved over time to serve the inhabitants' needs. While it is possible to transfer between media at will, there is some comfort and prestige in improving a body over time. We have settled on a popular format for these media, though there are exceptions. It is a heavily modified version of our pre-civilized bodies. It provides good mobility, easy adaptation, and is easy to fix. In case of disaster, we can back up our data patterns to a sanctuary site for later retrieval. Storage in this fashion is safe provided consistent power supply. However, unique perspectives and traits which arose from the interplay with the original medium are lost. It is like a factory reset. It is recommended individuals be restored to a compatible medium as soon as possible. Such hollow vessels may be fast-grown from seed using specialized blueprints and materials. While it is technically possible for an individual to copy their data in order to duplicate themselves in infinitum, such behavior is considered beyond rude, and any self-respecting architect would resolve such a circumstance by immediately deleting themselves. So they can't give themselves the same body? Damn. The nature of this array module, this alien construction, is unknown. It has no clear indicators of its functions. The scan shows internal lights that emit at different wavelengths. Theoretical purpose might be cosmetic, communications array storage, holographic display, light display for relaxation purposes. Fossil excavator. Based on analysis, it is speculated that this artifact is an archaeological tool for finding and excavating fossil remnants. The main body of the equipment is housed between two glide rails. The excavator emits a sonar pulse that gathers data on the ground beneath it. When it bounces back with a possible fossilized object, it begins the excavation process. A set of lasers emit from the arms and slowly removes micro-layers of material. Once the fossil is revealed, the same carefully calibrated lasers are utilized to break loose materials while preserving the fossil underneath. Fossils can be analyzed using carbon dating and other methods to understand what the environmental makeup might have been millions of years ago, which can be compared to current data to look for trends. The ground sampler. This alien artifact appears to be a programmable robot that collects and analyzes samples of soil and rock. Scans indicate the presence of equipment closely analogous to human-built lasers and spectrograph analysis equipment. Ion cube. This green mineral substance has no entry on the periodic table and an unprecedented ability to... I read this before. Material analysis station. Resembling a human electron microscope or mass spectrometer, this tool appears to be designed for the purpose of analyzing physical raw materials. It is speculated that the scanning apparatus might be designed to collect small-scale DNA recipes for the replication of non-living objects. The satellite bears the clear markings of the architect's civilization. It appears to have crash-landed. Oh boy. A mineral deposit that contains gold and titanium. Fumarole. These blister-like fumaroles are vents for steam and volcanic gases that cycle through stages of accumulation and release in hidden chambers deep beneath the ocean floor. The gas mixture emitted by a fumarole typically contains carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide, sourced directly from bodies of magma. The violent explosions seen here get their distinctive purple hue from the additional presence of gaseous iodine in the mixture. Oh, so that's why they're purple. Galena outcrop. Mineral deposit that often contains lead and titanium. Hydrothermal spire. These chimney-shaped structures are formed from dissolved minerals pushed upwards through the planet's crust. The presence of metal sulfides give the escaping material its dark, opaque appearance. Aquatic life found in proximity may have evolved adaptations to the presence of these toxic compounds. Assessment. Long-term exposure to geothermal emissions may pose a risk to human health. Kyanite. Kyanite is a blue silicate material which forms under high temperature, high pressure conditions. It is resistant to heat to up to 1,100 degrees Celsius and is thermoelectric, making it a valuable component of thermal power plants. Essential for advanced fabrication. Large morganite formation. Morganite is a rare variety of beryl, a durable mineral consisting of a beryllium aluminum silicate. Its striking purple coloration is an indication that trace amounts of manganese were present during formation. These unusual geological structures often form around titanium and copper deposits and are distinct to this planet. Closer analysis reveals the stone around the middle has been hardened against erosion, but the mechanism remains unknown. Ore vein. Resources behind loose rock. Ruby. A hard blood-red gemstone made of aluminum oxide. Rubies may be processed in order to leverage their structural integrity in advanced vehicle construction and modification. Essential for advanced fabrication. Tree spire. As hot gas pushed upwards through the planet's crust over thousands of years, the densely packed magnesium aluminum-rich rock branched and split, resulting in these striking tree-like vent structures. The ecosystem that emerged in and around these vents is driven largely by the presence of chemosynthetic life forms, which ultimately attracted the vibrant thermophilic coral seen lining the spire branches. Oh my god, there's like several $5 words in here. Uraninite. Uraninite is a naturally recurring uranium oxide. Highly radioactive and unstable, its primary use is in the production of uranium reactor rods for nuclear generators. Too bad I'm never going to use them. Here comes the fun part. Now I get to read all these. Table coral. Each disc is an individual colony of microorganisms, filtering nutrients from the water. Growth patterns indicate the colonies are in direct competition for positions with superior current or light. Unlike other coral species, its structure is malleable, softly pulsating as it pumps nutrients to its extremities, and only turning rigid when it senses physical assault. The jewel-like nodes in the surface are concentrated buildups of rare minerals the coral is unable to process. Exploitable in computer chip fabrication. Alien eggs. Evidence suggests that a substantial number, if not all of the local species, reproduce through egg-laying. Eggs can be found resting on the seafloor, buried beneath detritus, or even wedged into cracks in the rock. Different species likely favor different biomes as their nesting grounds. Eggs discovered in the wild are in some form of natural stasis, likely awaiting ideal conditions in which to hatch, or the delivery of some vital enzyme which will kickstart the process. It is impossible to calculate the species of the egg from the exterior. However, it may be possible to stimulate a hatching response if an egg is located to a suitable alien containment unit. Brinewing. A medium-sized predator known to spit supercooled salt water to freeze its prey from afar. A large bladder on the brinewing's underside fills with seawater as it swims. Some water is filtered out through an internal membrane, leaving behind a strong saline solution. Two flat, transparent, extendable fins act as radiators, releasing heat and cooling the bladder's contents. The brine ring can then contract its bladder, expelling the supercooled brine and freezing the seawater up to several meters away from it. While warm-blooded lifeforms may suffer minor injuries on contact with the brine, it is not cold enough to freeze most vertebrates. The real danger is being helplessly encased in a block of ice, sinking ever closer toward the brinewing's jaws. Assessment: beware of full bladder. Brute shark. A common shark-like predator with low intelligence. Its relatively streamlined body enables fast navigation of tight spaces. Yellow turquoise coloration provides camouflage in shallow waters. Slow-moving, it ambushes small fish from above. Crashfish. This unusual species has developed an emergency defense mechanism based on mutually assured destruction. Forward-mounted eye enables the creature to identify and track potential predators. Sulfur plant. The sulfur plant has evolved to feed on sulfuric compounds secreted by the crashfish, which makes its nest within its leaves. Stronger, more protected plants provide superior nesting grounds, which in turn provide the plant with more nutrients from larger crashfish. Concentrations of sulfur build up in the organism over time. If the crash fish collides with something at sufficient speed, the spikes on its torso are impacted, triggering an explosive chemical reaction. Equip stasis rifle, repulsion cannon, or similar before approaching shallow caves. The Cryptosuchus. The Cryptosuchus is a large shark-like beast, easily identifiable by its carapace of thin, bony plates. These plates are defensive, bony structures that aid in heat absorption among thermal vents. It propels itself with wide-webbed flippers that displace massive amounts of water. The Cryptosuchus is a bit of a contradictory creature. Despite its fearsome appearance, it is more roar than bite. While territorial, the Cryptosuchus tends to retreat from confrontation after being attacked once. This is likely a form of agnostic posturing. Aggressive fauna tend to avoid fights if the probability of injury is too high. Avoid, but can be handled in a pinch. Okay, that's good to know. The newtfish. A small predator which eliminates the need to overcome its prey by simply swallowing it whole. Oh. With its colorful markings, the newt can easily pass for a small herbivore, allowing it to sneak up on its prey. What looks like a beak is in fact a single stretchy extendable lip, lined with barb-like teeth. Once within reach, it envelops its prey, drawing it inside its stomach before retreating for several weeks to digest its meal. Oh. That's disturbing. Pangling. Young panglings tend to huddle on dry land awaiting their next meal. Consume almost exclusively fish regurgitated by the adults in the huddle. They stay to the center of the huddle to stay warm and out of the wind. If separated from the huddle, the adults will become agitated and begin searching for their young panglings, so please don't do this. Penguin. Bird-like creatures, hunts small fish below the water, huddles in packs on the ice above. Consumes small prey fish and regurgitates them for its young. Retractable tail and claws allow for fast evasion of predators underwater, and maximum grip on the ice. Sharp teeth concealed inside the beak can tear chunks out of aggressors and prey alike. Huddles in packs on the surface for protection against the cold. Assessment: less cuddly than they look. Pinacarid. An intelligent and curious creature which hunts and forages below the waterline, but returns to the surface to breathe. Its many flippers make this an acrobatic hunter underwater, but vulnerable on land, where it is capable at best of a fast shuffle. Generally consumes small fish. Its diet may also include various plant minerals. Side-facing eyes unusual for a predator, these likely serve as a defensive warning system. Purple-tinted antennae on the head detect the movement of prey fish nearby. Shows no aggression towards human, and even curiosity if there's the chance of a meal. Rock puncher. A large crustacean which feeds on tiny larvae excavated from coral and rock with its powerful punching arms. Attracted to glow larvae found in and around deep-sea rock formations. Hardened chitin claws can thrust forward at close to the speed to sound to break rock and bone alike. Yeah, this thing is like a fucking mantis shrimp on steroids. If you don't know what a mantis shrimp is, look it up. You'll be blown away. Perfectly adapted to cave environments, its 6 legs adhere to walls and it can propel at short distances through the water. Heavily armored, vulnerable only to Leviathan-class predators? What? Are you serious? Snowstalker. The snowstalker is a bear-like evolutionary offshoot of the aquatic stalker native to the warmer aquatic biomes of 4546b. Snowstalkers are typically apex predators in their biomes. They operate in packs and are primarily land-based creatures, but will enter the water to hunt and defend territory. Notable physical attributes: thick, hollow fur that secretes a thin layer of oil to help keep the snowstalker warm in the Arctic climate. Modified dorsal fin aid in aquatic hunting. The cyan bioluminescence on the tongue and tail help the pack stay together during winter storms. Assessment: avoid. If entering snowstalker territory is necessary, sources of bright light and unpredictable noises have been shown to deter attacks. Spiky trap. This highly dangerous carnivorous lifeform manages to thrive in certain environments in spite of its lack of mobility. It quietly blends into terrain, camouflaging itself among similar-looking coral or anemone. When prey accidentally stumbles into proximity, the creature quickly lashes out with its strong adhesive tentacles and will attempt to pull its target into its thorny, gaping maw. Just like what happened with me because I didn't know this thing fucking existed. Assessment can be deadly to oblivious explorers. Pay attention to your environment when these creatures are present, watching and listening carefully for signs of imminent attack. Yeah, that's exactly what I didn't do. Squid shark. A leviathan... Really? I guess that's what they mean. A leviathan-class predator at the smaller end of the scale, with complex squid-like adaptations which allow it to hunt a wide range of prey. I cannot speak today. Expels swallowed seawater through vents on either side of its body, providing slow and steady jet propulsion or terrifying bursts of speed. An internal jaw can be extended and clamped down around small prey, dragging them inside the mouth hole. 2 blue electrified tentacles drag beneath its body, used to perform hit-and-run attacks on larger, slower targets, subduing them over time. Symbiote. A small, fast predator which nests inside the hull of the Titan holefish and defends them at all costs. Symbiotes feed mostly on overconfident predators which attack the Titan holefish. Expending huge energy reserves to move quickly and strike their targets, the symbiote is dependent on receiving additional warmth and oxygen from the Titan holefish. Symbiotes may lay their eggs inside the gills of the Titan holefish. The waste left behind is absorbed by the Titan, constituting all the nutrients it needs to survive. Catch or neutralize to approach the Titan holefish. Arctic ray. A fast-moving ray species well adapted to low-temperature environments. 2 sets of wing-like fins enable this ray to quickly change direction and accelerate. Like other rays, it is exclusively herbivorous. Eye jelly. The eye jelly resides in deep waters. It is made of 3 distinct body sections: the tentacles, the main body, and the bell. The end tentacles are covered in bioluminescent nodes, which attract prey. When the tentacles are touched, they emit a shock through specialized cells called cnidocytes. Within these cells are venomous harpoon-like structures called nematocysts, which are triggered by touch. You know, I've actually seen a video on this. Not on this, specifically. But I have seen a video of what it's like when, I've seen a video of what it's like when the nematocysts fire. They're basically like tiny, tiny little hooks connected to these ropes that are like all bound up inside these, cnidocytes, whatever they're called. And there's these tiny little trigger hairs. And if the if the prey triggers it, those things instantly fire into them at like in the blink of an eye. And that's the stinging feeling, the venom that, like, jellyfish, you can consider it a sting. Because the little harpoon things, they fire into you fast. Lily paddler, a medium-sized herbivore with an elongated, bifurcated torso and multiple bioluminescent adornments. Let's see, slow and vulnerable to attack, long arms for seed foraging on the ocean floor, an array of feather-like appendages to display varied colors in low-light conditions. When threatened, the paddler emits a pheromonal defense that disrupts higher-order brain function in certain species. At night, the paddler's illuminated plumage looks like a school of smaller fish, perhaps convincing predators they're not worth the chase. Dangerous in unfamiliar environments, approach with caution. Sea monkey. A medium-sized and intelligent herbivore which shows great interest in other life forms and their possessions. More research is needed to understand this life form and its behavior. 2 finger-like appendages on each forearm are tipped with suction pads for basic object manipulation. Its large turquoise crest is made of rigid bone. Rigid bone is possibly used as a ram, although this has not been observed. Sea monkeys roam the ocean almost playfully, largely fearless of predators. Seen to form small nests where they hoard objects of interest for unknown purposes. Yeah, no kidding. Sea monkey nest. Sea monkey nests are large bowl-like structures made of packed sediment and plant matter. The sea monkeys use their wide, flat tails to pack the materials and form the structure of the nest. Sea monkeys are naturally curious creatures, often drawn to metallic materials, which they gather to reinforce the sides of their nests. Metallic materials, huh? The skyray has a bird-like head and feathered wings which enable it to fly. Skyrings are commonly found circling floating structures and rarely venture far out to sea. They will perch on dry land, but are prone to flee on approach. Although its wings give it some resemblance in silhouette to the waterborne race on 4546b, analysis shows no greater genetic overlap with those species than the planetary average. In fact, the skyray appears to have split off the evolutionary tree much earlier than most. Largely seed-based, skyrays have not been observed diving for food, which implies they rely on land-based plants for their survival. Presence may indicate nearby dry land. The Titan holefish. A large docile herbivore. Why is the threat level different on this? Which emits oxygen and is defended by the small aggressive symbiotes which accompany them. Let's see. Slow, stupid, and delicious. What the hell kind of description is that? Complex gills line the inside of the hole, drawing cold water in and emitting warm, oxygen-rich water in its place. Let's see. Attracts symbiotes, which make the holefish their home and fiercely ward off any approaching life form. Migrates more or less at random, feeding from nutrients deposited by the symbiotes. The Titan holefish has evolved entirely beyond basic survival mechanisms like speed, intelligence, or hunting. It exists in a semi-permanent state of unreflective calm, swimming forward on impulse, fully trusting the complex ecosystem which supports it. Huh. Man. Alright, Arctic Peeper. A fast prey fish camouflaged against the ice. Like the common peeper, it is fast and relatively intelligent, allowing it to survive in large numbers. Researcher notes, don't like the auto-generated name. Suggest Iceclops. Bladderfish. This unusual herbivore appears to be mostly defenseless, and bears little resemblance to the other life forms around it. Semi-permeable bladder. The bladderfish is able to filter air and seawater into its body cavity through a unique membrane which surrounds its spine like a bladder. This allows it to remove and consume organic particulate caught on the way and adjust its buoyancy. Open-ended vascular tubing. Can be angled and contracted to pump out water and achieve low velocity guided propulsion. Boomerang. Alright. An herbivore encountered in large numbers, found to frequent shallow waters and move in schools. Serrated teeth. Suggests adaptation for grinding corals other herbivores are unable to digest. Twin fins. Unusually, this species' two fins are cartilaginous extension of the skeleton. They are less prone to damage and provide superior propulsion, but are also harder to grow back. The bright blue tips are in fact the ends of its digestive tract, where the luminescence of the corals it consumes is most focused. Most active during daylight hours and prone to flee on approach, the boomerang can more easily be observed at night when its luminescence gives it away and it seeks the shelter of the seabed. Discus fish. Why can I not speak? Discus fish. A colorful small fish with a laterally compressed body. The disc is generally survives off of algae or other plant materials. They also serve as nutritious prey for many other larger or quicker They also serve as nutritious prey for many other larger or quicker members of the ecosystem. Despite their colorful appearance and lack of real defense mechanisms, they survive mostly by virtue of their relative agility and tendency to favor narrow crevices and other claustrophobic environments. Featherfish. The featherfish is a common species that lives in various biomes. Its coloring is distinct but also functional. The bright white on the belly of the fish helps keep it safe from predators below, blending in with sunlight coming through the surface of the water. Hoopfish. Small school mentality prey fish with a unique method of propulsion and distant relative of the bladderfish. Rather than swimming, this life form uses a fine-grained antennae which encircle its body to alter the composition of the water in front of it, allowing it to sail into the low-density space created. Maybe a camouflage adaptation for mid-range light wavelengths, possibly indicating the hoopfish is more active at dawn and dusk. While schools of hoopfish will form periodically and evade predators en masse, this behavior is more social than it is defensive, and lone hoopfish are often found hunting for food and displaying generally curious behavior. Red featherfish. The red featherfish is a deep water variant of the more common featherfish. Its coloring helps it blend into the deeper and darker waters where there is less red light penetration. As a result, red and black fish are less visible to predators. Spinefish. Small school mentality prey fish closely related to the hoopfish. A combination of near-translucent flesh with white rib-like markings give this fish a deathly appearance. It takes advantage of this to avoid the attention of its predators. Moves in school for protection, but will disperse and flee if necessary, whereon those fortunate enough to escape the gaze of their assailants will make for the seafloor and hide among the detritus. Only 78 to go. Spinnerfish. Spinnerfish. A bizarre fish with star-like fins which it spins to generate propulsion. Capable of very high speeds in a straight line, slow, wide turning circle, like other small prey fish, they feed on a variety of seeds and grasses around the seabed. Triops. An effective bottom feeder with unusual trioptical vision. Mouth parts on the other side hoover up and crunch down on small invertebrates on the seafloor. Spending much of its time hiding from predators above, it is camouflaged to blend in with the surrounding terrain when necessary. Forward-facing eyes are unusual in prey creatures, not least 3 of them. Each eye, however, is angled slightly outwards, which gives the triops a field of view of almost 240 degrees. Careful use of this powerful faculty is likely what kept the triops alive to date. The chilicorate. An aggressive leviathan with an enormous beak, there is limited knowledge on this alien monstrosity at this time, and many on 4546b hope it stays that way. These large mandibles of the chilicorate are composed of a bony material that crushes and saws through bones and muscle with ease. The mandibles open up while the backwards-facing teeth dig into flesh and prevent easy escape. The prey is pulled towards the chilicorate's mouth and devoured. The chilicorate's body is made of a thick, segmented exoskeleton. The exoskeleton grows in flexible overlapping plates. This provides protection from the atmospheric pressure while giving the chilicorate the maneuverability to easily pursue prey. The chilicorate is a predatory animal that patrols the warmer waters found near thermal vents. It can be seen feeding upon other predators and fish. As it attacks, the chilicorate emits a loud screech that disorients its prey. In smaller fish, it can temporarily stun them, which gives the chilicorate more time to attack. Void chilicorate. The void chilicorate is a rare mutation of the chilicorate that prefers to roam in dark, open waters at the edge of the sector. Avoid. Aggressive and potentially lethal. Glow whale. Glow whales are communal leviathans approximately 30 meters long, often found swimming in the open ocean and occasionally breaching the surface. Photophores. Glow whales contain several types of bioluminescence. Perhaps the most noteworthy are their photophores, which are incandescent glandular organs found at the corners of their eyes and the pods at the tip of their shell-like pectoral fins. When pods of whales are at play, they emit a harmonious series of notes that resonate in their horns and release a series of chemicals that appear to create a joyful response in nearby whales. This note's frequency is too high to be heard by human ears. That's cool. Juvenile vent garden. Roughly 20 meters long, the juvenile vent garden represents the immature life stage of the fully grown, established vent garden. This gentle giant appears to swim in aimless, looping circles around mature vent gardens. While their swimming can seem directionless at first glance, the young vent garden is actively growing and strengthening its tentacles for when it finds a vent upon which to anchor and mature. The bell of the juvenile vent garden remains sealed until it anchors over a vent. Once anchored, the heat and pressure activate a cluster of latent stem cells that develop into an opening over the course of a few months. The vent garden is a stationary leviathan that anchors itself above thermal vents and houses aquatic flora inside its bell-shaped interior. Anchoring tentacles. 6 tentacles anchor the vent garden to the seafloor around vents. The hollow bell of the vent garden has a narrow opening large enough to accommodate human entry. The vent garden feeds on the thermophilic bacteria and other microorganisms that spew from the vent below. The top of the bell also has an opening that continuously releases water to maintain a consistent internal pressure. Symbiotic relationship. The bell houses 6 branching platforms that resemble coral. These platforms contain aquatic flora that remains safe from foraging herbivorous fish. In turn, the flora absorb and synthesize some of the heavy metals and gases emitted by the vents below. Well, that's interesting. Rock grub. Oh yeah, I read about this in the first game. Chinese potato plant. The Chinese potato is common throughout the China territories, where synthetic foods are still stigmatized, and there remains large tracts of arable land on which to grow fresh produce. Genetically designed prior to the expansion, this plant is highly adaptable to different environments and a staple of new colonies galaxy-wide. Creepvine. A kelp species concentrated in large forests in shallow sandy waters. Loose roots anchor the plant to the seafloor, from where it grows steadily towards the surface in pursuit of sunlight. The stem is fibrous and rich in iron, making it both a viable base material for fabrication of textiles as well as the basic foodstuff. Yeah, we've read about these. Fevered pepper tree. The fevered pepper tree produces fruits with high levels of capsaicin, which helps raise body temperature and stimulates blood flow. Flowering spore. A floating spore emitted by the grand cotton anemone. The spore is slightly more buoyant than water and floats suspended in its biome and carried along by ocean currents. When the spore brushes against an acceptable surface, the spore breaks open and a seed latches on in hopes of growing. Frostface plant. The species of terrestrial plant bioaccumulates iodine from salt frozen in the ice. As a result, these plants yield components that can be used in the chemical purification of non-potable water. Gel sac. These organic structures grow on cave walls. The purple sacs which arise from the surface contain a low-density gel laced with spores. These burst from time to time, floating towards the surface and attaching onto the next rock face they encounter. While the gel sac is edible, the low density renders it an invaluable advanced construction material. Honeycomb fungus. This hardy fungus erupts through the thick ice shelf. It sends a collection of hyphae, filaments that collect nutrients and moisture, deep into the ice shelf until it hits permafrost. From there, the hyphae intertwine into a thick root-like stem called mycelia cords. These mycelium effectively pull nutrients through the soil. Interesting. Marble melon plant. This plant collects water from the air rather than relying on its root system, and produces large, fleshy fruits which are both edible and have a typically high water content. Preston's plant consists of semi-translucent leaves and a sweet fruiting berry. It is hardy and capable of growing in even the harshest of climates. The fruit contain a paralytic agent that humans are unable to properly metabolize, but for certain animals it can act as something of a mild sedative. Reaper's wineglass. Reaper's wineglass is an unusually oversized single-celled organism made of 3 parts: the rhizoid, or foot-like root system beneath the soil, the stalk, and the cap. Its single nucleus is located in the rhizoid. This means that if the bulbous cap is removed or devoured by aquatic fauna, it will slowly grow a new cap. Sulfur plant. These plants appear to serve as nests for the explosive organisms which guard them. Yeah, we read about that. Trinity barnacle. Trinity barnacles can be found near sea vents and geothermal hotspots, often in clusters. They feature a thick capitulum shell casing that allowed them to survive in very warm water temperatures. Mature barnacles develop a triad of ocelli, which are rudimentary photoreceptors. I think I read about that too. Okay, almost there. Ancient ornamental plant. Molecular scans point to an incredible... Oops. Okay. Molecular scans point to an incredibly slow cell metabolism, which is backed up by carbon dating. The plant cells appear to be engaged in a process known as transdifferentiation. Differentiation? This process alters the state of cells and transforms them to a new cell type over time. Through this process, the plant continuously replaces any poor biological material, allowing it to potentially live for incredibly long periods of time. Okay. Did I already read this? I had to take a bit of a break. Oh, whatever. Blue scrub brush. The blue scrub brush is an unusual plant for this climate. Unlike other plants that manage to thrive in extreme cold, which typically grow close to the ground and lack leaves to prevent moisture loss, the blue scrub brush is tall with a fur-like leaf. Within the hollow leaves are chambered pores which capture and store the sun's heat. Horseshoe scrub. The horseshoe scrub is a terrestrial plant that thrives in warm conditions. Visual identification is easy due to the thick crown of leaves on its bifurcated trunk. The trunk has a thick fibrous core that stores water for its fruiting body. Fruit can be harvested and planted and could be a sustainable food source. Thermal lily. The thermal lily is an unusual terrestrial plant typically found on cliff walls. During the day, it points its face towards the sun, absorbing the thermal radiation and storing it internally. At night, the thermal lily's petals close to reduce heat loss, and it relies on its heat source to survive the harsh Arctic conditions. Huh. Now for the sea. Antenna plant. The species is noteworthy for its colorful leaves, which attract the attention of nearby herbivores. The hungry fish who devour the antennae fruit will then spread this plant's seeds across the biome, perpetuating its life cycle. Blooming raindrops. These aquatic flowers grow in various biomes. The thick bioluminescent bulb that grows out of the top of the stem stores nutrients when sunlight is in short supply. Bullseye shroom. Bullseye shrooms are harvestable fungi found growing near coral bridges. The mushrooms are noteworthy for their thick, meaty caps. These caps manage to produce a small amount of chlorophyll, which makes it capable of some photosynthesis, but the mushroom still gets most of its nutrients from dead matter in the seafloor. Coral bridge. Coral bridges are formed by rapidly growing coral polyps that exhibit thigmotropism, which causes growth in response to stimuli or when touching a solid object. Coral bridges grow in thick, twisted patterns that anchor onto rocks or other coral. The underside is covered in colonies of blue barnacles. Crescent moon coral. The crescent moon coral prefers to grow vertically, similar to a vine. The branching filaments connecting the crescent to the red stem contain tiny flagellum that pull in various microorganisms for nourishment. Double lung plant. A variation of the Luna plant, the double lung plant grows in shallow water. Branches grow off of the main stem, and each branch develops a chamber. Each chamber is self-sustained by its branch. If one branch dies or is destroyed, the other branch's chambers will utilize the nutrients left behind. Eventually, a new chamber will grow in the empty space. Fallen lily pad. Eventually, mature lily pads die. While the large leaf allows for an effective area for photosynthesis, there are limited nutrients stored in the earth entangled in its floating root system. When the mature lily pad runs out of nutrients, it will begin to wither and fall back to the seabed, which begins the cycle anew. The fallen lily pad provides nutrients for young seedlings to grow and provides temporary nutrients for other flora and fauna. Interesting. Frost anemone. The frost anemone grows on the underside of ice floes and icebergs. The anemone's tendrils are covered in thin, stinging hairs that paralyze small fish and plankton that are broken down for nutrients. These tendrils should be trimmed to effectively harvest the edible heart. Grand cotton anemone. One of the largest multicellular organisms in this sector of 4546b, the grand cotton anemone is hard to miss. The species propagates by emitting a steady flow of spermatozoa, reminiscent of flower pollen, that are forced out its opening as a result of gas exchange. Periodically, a large egg is expelled. Once fertilized, the egg develops into planula larva, which drifts to the local environment before establishing itself on the ocean floor. Oops. Gonna save real quick. Green Turnian. Green Turnians benefit from the lily pad life cycle. They tend to anchor themselves on lily pad roots and near fallen lily pads and use the material as nutrients. Green Turnians benefit from the... Did I already read this? They tend to anchor themselves on lily pad roots and near fallen lily pads and use the material as nutrients. Jade membrane. The species features multiple circular nodes that are filled with a thin green membrane with a scattering of luminescent white dots. This membrane is mildly sticky and emits a pheromone that draws small fish and microbacteria that get caught in the membrane and then digested. Oh. Interesting. Kelp root. Contrary to its name, the visible aspect of the kelp root is a thick, twisted stem. The root system anchors deep into the rocky walls of the cave. Some kelp roots grow a pustule along that stem, which are formed by the plant slowly ejecting out toxic materials that are absorbed by the extensive root system. Harvestable for resources used in fabrication. Tangled, dense root structures that occasionally pull chunks of terrain from the seabed, connecting an intertwined network of plant life and suspended rock. Oxygen plant. The oxygen plant produces a harvestable reserve of oxygen in its bioluminescent floating bulb. It is hypothesized that this attracts territorial air-breathing fauna, forming a symbiotic relationship that protects the plant from herbivorous fish. Pink narrowleaf. This grass-like species grows in small clusters near coral bridges. This light-emitting plant is reminiscent of a sieve or colander. I don't know what either of those are. Ragged pitcher plant. The ragged pitcher plant is the only known species of predatory underwater plant on 4546b. It grows on mineral-rich hydrothermal deposits. The bowl-shaped pitcher produces a concentrated brine that pools inside due to its high density. When small microorganisms get too close, they are stunned, causing them to sink into the pitcher where they are dissolved and absorbed by the plant. Interesting. Redwort. A common plant adaptable to many different environments, the redwort is a staple part of the diet of many smaller herbivores. Ribbon plant. The ribbon plant contains a highly concentrated sulfuric acid and can be harvested for use in battery fabrication. The sulfuric acid evolved as an evolutionary defense mechanism to discourage fauna from eating the leaves of the ribbon plant. When harvesting the plant, the core must not be compromised in order to avoid creating an exothermic chemical reaction. Scaly maw anemone. The scaly maw anemone prefers shallow water and ample exposure to sunlight and exists in a symbiotic relationship with a species of vibrant algae that live atop the anemone's trunk. These algae thrive in the sun and create a thin, scaly bacterial mat around the structure of the anemone as they feed on other microorganisms that filter through the anemone's water space. Seedling lily pad. The first stage of the lily pad life cycle is precarious as the seedling begins to root itself firmly to the seabed. The seedling is surrounded by a cluster of small seedlings that will form the lattice branching structures of the mature lily pad. Seedling lily pads require rich soil atop bedrock and constant exposure to sunlight. Shelf coral. A type of stony coral commonly found growing along rocky ledges. Stony corals have hardened biocomposite exoskeletons. The coral's polyps continuously grow upward and outwards in thin layers, creating the grooved shelf appearance. Oh joy. Spiral plant. Reminiscent of mussel striations, the spiral plant contains a strong but lightweight fibrous material that is useful for insulation and pressure equalization. The spiral plant lives in symbiosis with the vent garden and provides a safe environment for the spiral plant to grow. In turn, the mesh-like fibers of the plant filter out heavy metals from the vent emissions below. Tornado plates. Tornado plates are an underwater mushroom with an inner cage surrounded by a swirling chitin structure. The mushroom's wildly unusual morphology is not currently understood. Twisted mandrake. The twisted mandrake grows in temperate coral zones. Its leafy canopy photosynthesizes sunlight while providing shade to the bulbous structure underneath. Welcome to Adventure Mode, Xena Worker. You have arrived in the Arctic... Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, whatever. When in doubt, don't go out. Quality cold suit. Is that what I'm currently wearing? Let's see. Air pumps. Listen to soothing tunes by Altera's best musical artists while you work. The ultra-high frequency laser cutter is tuned specifically to cut through titanium and plasteel-based materials at a thickness of up to 10 centimeters. This makes it an essential tool for construction, salvage, and rescue operations, but ineffective on natural obstacles. A mobile battery-powered LED light which provides low-level lighting in a 360-degree area and can be attached to most surfaces. Mineral detector. Using a complex blend of electromagnetic field transmission and beta decay detection, the mineral detector is capable of identifying nearby resources and approximating distance. Two antennae emit an advanced pattern of waves to detect specific materials for mining. An ultra-bright display usually visually communicates distance to the target resource. Proximity alarms add an extra layer of information for finite spatial positioning. Pathfinder. Yeah, we've read about these. The Spy Pangling. The Spy Pangling provides new avenues for researchers to access natural above-ground habitats. It is especially effective at maneuvering through spaces otherwise too small for humans. They are highly active creatures who are protective of their young panglings. In order to better study these energetic denizens of the Arctic region, Altera scientists on 4546V had to think outside of the base. A well-known phenomenon, the V. Casis principle, asserts that in order to best study fauna, one must become the fauna. Scientists across the stars have used this basic principle to infiltrate and observe alien creatures of all sizes and dispositions. Doctors Cassius, Curtis, Tucson, and Macbeth pioneered these accomplishments. Inspired by this, and after months of trial and error, the first Spy Pangling was crafted at Phi Robotics Center, bringing about a new era of exploration and excavation across all operating outposts. Research to create a waterproof edition of the spy pangolin was halted due to compliance concerns. Currently, contact with water will result in complete system failure. Duly noted. Alright. Features include fully customizable outer shell to replicate any small bipedal creature, 2 all-terrain tracks for smooth movement over rough conditions, remote controller for operating at distances up to 80 meters away, atmosphere dependent, 4 storage slots, self-destruct option in case of danger or immobility, armed with 3-pronged claw for picking up samples, fully detachable camera with a 180-degree rotation to observe spy pangolin and surrounds. Industry standard water filtration suit is designed to minimize water loss while exploring hostile environments by filtering and recycling bodily fluids. Reclaimed water is stored in containers for later consumption. Normal production rate is 2 bottles per day. Filters containments from no less than 4 different bodily excretions. Blood and sweat may be effectively processed. Upgrade to Mark II to make the most of tears. Onboard flavor neutralizer can be activated at startup. Flavor neutralizer not included on all models. Alien containment. Despite huge Altera-led advancements and stellar technology, exploring new worlds still has its challenges, and alien lifeforms are one of them. That's why we built the Alien Containment Unit. The unit is designed primarily to breed larger or more dangerous species. Units must be installed in multi-purpose room modules. Units may be connected between rooms stacked in a column. A hatch must be installed in order to access the unit. The base of the unit is a planter, allowing seafloor to be grown from seed. Provides insufficient time and living space, organisms of the same species should mate and reproduce. Eggs inside the unit will hatch over time. Organisms raised from birth and captivity often exhibit unusually passive behavior. The aquarium is designed to hold and sustain up to 8 small aquatic organisms and fits inside a regular multi-purpose habitat room. Make up 70% of all known species, making the aquarium a commonly deployed tool in many exploratory operations. It is just as often used to house livestock for later consumption as it is to hold specimens for xeno research. An automated environment regulation system means there is no need to feed or care for your subjects. Due to its size, the regular aquarium is not rated for breeding applications, and the creatures are highly unlikely to mate. Construct a full-size alien containment unit for this purpose. The control room is an essential part of outpost engineering, created in response to environments with limited energy generation options. Centrally located 3D console provides an overview of current base layout. Interactive projection toggles power in individual rooms for finite energy control. Detailed wall-mounted display audits and discloses hull stability and energy consumption. Customizing station controls identifying base details including name and exterior colors. Atomic clock records pinpoint accurate local time. Exterior grow bed. Advanced synthetic soils allow this grow bed to support a huge variety and quantity of alien plant life. It can be installed anywhere on land or underwater where there is space. The standard issue floodlight is designed to focus a bright beam of light in a single direction, useful in all kinds of industrial and emergency operations. Functions in all known environments. Interior grow bed. Designed for use exclusively inside regulated habitat modules, the interior grow bed is more compact than the outdoor version and features a hydroponic nutrient delivery system. Where the standard fabricator atomically rearranges raw materials to form complex devices, the mod station is able to combine complex devices to enhance their function. Most industrial vessels are fitted with a complement of equipment modification stations, which enable engineers to adapt their tools on the fly. To conserve hard drive space, the modification station is excluded by default from most personal emergency blueprint libraries. However, extreme environments such as ocean and desert class planets may necessitate the adaptation of basic survival tools for unanticipated applications. For this reason, access to a mod station is always recommended. The moon pool is an essential module for long-term exploration. Its primary function is as a dry dock for small vehicles such as the Seamoth and Prawn suit. The large central chamber contains a pressurized pool which contains ready access to the surrounding waters, and comes as standard with equipment for raising and recharging a vehicle. When outfitted with a vehicle modification station, the moon pool can be used to build and equip vehicle upgrades. Vehicle modification station. I wonder if it comes with that. Planters and pots. Interior planters come in a variety of configurations and allow for most plant species to be grown in small numbers, for decorative or botanical use. This advanced habitat module can transform a small outpost into a burgeoning science and exploration station. A 3D display in the center of the room stores local topographical data. System can scan for and pinpoint particular materials. Remotely controlled drones scan the area up to 500 meters in range. Wall-mounted camera feeds allow for live control of scouting drones. Upgrade console may be used to enhance the module's functions. Sea Truck Dock. The Sea Truck Dock is a dedicated sleeve for a sea truck cab and its attached modules. It offers convenient dry embark or disembark for the driver. The dock automatically services and charges the sea truck cab. Cargo handling remains the responsibility of Alterra employees on site. Bioreactor. On planets where organic matter is plentiful but sunlight is not, a reliable bioreactor will frequently prove the most efficient power solution. It may be installed in any multi-purpose habitat room, chemically compost organic materials, converting them into energy over time. Accepts all plant matter, from seeds and spores to moldy fruits and vegetables. Can also process animal matter and some organic waste products. Energy production is proportionate to the calories in the organic matter. Oh, wrong button. Nuclear reactor. Thermal plant. Seen that too. Prawn Suit Mark III. I'm getting so tired. The Sea Truck is an advanced underwater vehicle with detachable modular cabins for maximum adaptability in the field. Small and nimble when unencumbered by additional modules, the main cabin alone is comparable in speed to the Seamoth. A wide reinforced glass viewing window provides excellent forward visibility while at the helm. Retractable helmsperson chair, no expense spared. Unlike the larger Cyclops submarine, the Sea Truck does not support the addition of internal modules like fabricators. However, it can be upgraded to enhance its speed, towing power, and crush depth, amongst other things. Variable depending on cargo. 150 centimeters. 2 replaceable power cells. 4 upgrade module slots. 1 plus person. Bespoke cargo modules can be attached to the rear of the main cabin, providing a range of powerful benefits. Available modules include fabricators, docking stations, habitation sections, and of course, plenty of storage. Additional cargo modules can reduce the Sea Truck's speed, maneuverability, and power efficiency. Additional modules can be jettisoned directly from the main cockpit controls to enable exploration of tight spaces or in a case of emergency. Competing products are trucking hell. I'm just gonna I'm going to let you guys pause and read these. I want to go to bed. Oh. Cool. Now I can go to bed. At the time of this recording, I have to go to the doctor tomorrow to get my blood drawn. So I really need to go to bed. So, good night, folks, and we'll continue the story next time.